We're good? All right. So now we will call to order the regular meeting of the Cochise County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, January 6th. We're meeting in the Supervisors Hearing Room on Melody Lane in Bisbee. The order or deletion of any item on this agenda is subject to modification of the meeting. Any item listed is open for discussion and possible action. Please note some attachments may be updated after the agenda is published, meaning presentation materials displayed at the board may differ slightly from the attached versions online. Members of the board may attend either in person or via remote conferencing. Members of the public may also attend via Microsoft Teams or the mobile app. The board may permit public comment during the discussion of any item on this agenda. To speak on an agenda item or during the call to the public, please complete and return a speaker request form to the clerk of the board prior to 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting. Some attachments may be updated after the agenda is published. This means that some presentation material displayed at the board, I think I said that already.
It's okay. You can say it again.
Yeah.
Make double sure.
He wrote it down twice for me. Thank you so much. So people are aware that there may be differences. So we will begin with an invocation. This is District 1's turn. So we have Aslan Villa Flores, who will be here today to do our invocation for us. Ms. Flores.
As we enter this new year, we pause with gratitude for the trust placed in us to serve. We ask for guidance for this Board of Supervisors. Grant us wisdom as we make decisions, humility as we listen, and unity as we work together. May our actions be thoughtful, our discussions respectful, and our leadership guided by integrity and a commitment to the well-being of our community. Amen.
All right, next, thank you so much. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now it's time for roll call. District 1.
Crosby is here.
District 2.
Gomez is here.
And District 3. Antonori is here. All supervisors are present and in person. We will begin with the call to the public. We have several people that have requested to speak. First up is Alfred Kern. Mr. Kern.
Well, everybody knows who I am. I'm Alfred Kern. I live at 3460 East Greenwash in Douglas. I've been coming here for over 33 years, and I hope that we can get something resolved that for the next meeting. It's like I said, I've been coming here for over 3 years, and nothing's being done, and everybody pays their taxes out there. And we have no county workers to do it. We mentioned that until the county starts grading our roads, they can keep the county vehicles off. We kicked them out of there before. And they weren't too happy. They left. And, well, like I said, we got to get something done. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up online, we have Miss Allison Morse. Miss Morse, are you there? Is she there? Miss Morse. All right, we'll come back to Miss Morse. Let's go to Brian Keith Bowers. Mr. Bowers, are you here? There you are, sir. Hey, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Disabled vet. I recently bought property.
Can you step up to the mic so people can hear you?
My
Yeah, there,
voice usually carries. I apologize.
Yep.
I bought property out by Leslie Canyon about 2 years ago from Board of Supervisors. When I bought the property, I did not have a neighbor 10 acres away. I now do. That neighbor is buying the property from a company in Florida on an owner finance carry. He's not supposed to be living there. He has no permits. He's living there, he's building there, he's dumping raw sewage and wash water on the ground, raising livestock. His goats, his pigs, his dogs are on my property. I cannot even build on my property because his animals are already there or he's there. I've tried everything all the way through planning and zoning, and I'm bringing it to you, and I hope you can help me. Thank you for your time.
Who's, what,
And he must be in my district too.
yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I'll follow up with you. I mean, I've got your email on here and I'll look, this is from you, right?
Yes, ma'am. You have plenty of pictures of the state of that property to go with it.
Okay. So, can you leave your phone number with Lisa and then I'll follow up with you on this, okay?
I tried to get a hold of your number a couple of times, but we never were able to talk to each other. That's the reason I'm here today.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was on vacation and my father passed away. Not an excuse, but we'll get to, we'll take it.
All right.
Okay.
It's a smart move. All right, so next up, let's go back. Is Allison Morse up? Is she back?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There you are, Miss Morris. Hey, Miss Morris, Happy New Year. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you all too. Today is the 5th anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. It appears that the president who tried to subvert that election just extracted the Venezuelan president who successfully stole his own. For a similar attempt to overthrow an election, the former Brazilian president is now serving a 27-year prison sentence. Special counsel Jack Smith testified that Donald Trump violated federal law and was culpable for the January 6th insurrection. According to his deposition, the president knowingly lied to his supporters with claims of election fraud that targeted a lawful government function. Trump incited the violent mob, then watched passively while they destroyed federal property, assaulted law enforcement officers, and threatened the lives of his vice president and members of Congress. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone was one of 140 law enforcement officers who were brutally injured by Trump's thugs. Officer Fanone, a father of 4, was, quote, dragged down the Capitol steps, beaten with pipes, stunned with a taser, sprayed with chemical irritants, and threatened with his own gun. He suffered burns, a heart attack, a concussion, a traumatic brain injury, and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, as many officers were following the insurrection. Some called this heinous act of political violence a, quote, day of love, and pardoned almost 1,600 convicted rioters, including those that assaulted Officer Fanone. I encourage you to watch Fanone's body cam footage of the January 6th riot and listen to Jack Smith's testimony. And I'd like to pause now for just a short moment of silence to remember the trauma of that day 5 years ago and those unspeakable acts of terror. I will then wrap up my allotted 3 minutes with another election-related topic.
Did we lose her? Or
Are
was
we
she
doing a
gone?
moment of silence?
Oh, I didn't hear her.
The Board of Supervisors recently expressed support for Ken Bennett's do-it-yourself election audit that would violate voters' privacy by making public cast vote records and ballot images. The Secretary of State warned you all that this scheme is unlawful. The Cochise County voters demand that you use common sense, integrity, and factual evidence when considering any changes to our lawful election process. To borrow the words of Jack Smith, we want you to do the right thing, the right way, and for the right reasons. Thank you.
I couldn't hardly
Yeah.
hear. Miss Morris, your internet connection is either rough or something. I don't know what's going on. I only heard about half what you were saying, so my apologies for not being able
Was
to
that
hear.
the whole speech was like that?
Yeah, it was very garbled, ma'am, to be honest.
I don't know. I have a clear connection here. I can try it on my phone, but I don't think that's fair to. My internet connection is perfectly fine. I've got all bars, So I could do it on my phone, but I do think what I'm saying is very important for people to hear.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not doubting that. That's why I brought it up that you were having a hard time hearing you. So I don't know how we can improve.
I
Just to
will-
clarify, Mr.
I can do it on my cell phone. Can you hear it now?
She was moving away from her mic, it seemed, or something. So we just ask that she stay stationary because we can hear her better now.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I can do it again very quickly. Good morning and Happy New Year.
You need to get one of those headsets with a nice microphone on it. Maybe that might help. I don't know what the issue
That
is.
would be great. That's on my list. Thank
All
you
right.
very
Well,
much.
we're gonna.
I would like to say I would like to have my time. If you don't mind, I would like to be able to talk with you all.
Let me,
Very
Ms.
important.
Morris, let me put you back in the queue. I want to go through this and then we'll bring you back up again because we're still having issues. Still something's going on here. So we'll see if we could figure out what that is. So let's put you back in the queue. Let's go with Diana Lamar. Is Miss Lamar here? Oh, Miss Lamar. Sir, oh, you can leave anytime you want, sir. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. All right, thanks, sir. All right, Miss Lamar, go ahead. You got 3 minutes.
Good morning. Happy New Year. My name is Diana Lamar. I am with Douglas Indivisible. We have a membership of approximately 200 people. I live at 1303 F Avenue in Douglas. I'm here today in remembrance of January 6th and to speak to the committee's, our community's desire for free and fair elections. We are tired of the negative attention given to our county over unsubstantiated claims of stolen elections, conspiracy theories, and fueling suspicions of faulty machines in spite of evidence to the contrary. In fact, it was our own Board of Supervisors that actually interfered with elections and refused to certify election results. We hope that this is behind us, but we have concerns about the board's interest in Ken Bennett's 5-point plan, which Secretary of State Fontes has explained is not legal because ballot images are protected by law and not subject to public viewing. We want integrity in our elections and a responsible county government that follows the rule of law and does not cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars in needless legal costs. Elections are about integrity and not about party. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Mr. Philip Klump.
Morning, all.
Hey,
I'm
morning, sir.
Philip Klump from Wilcox. I don't know exactly this should, I hope can get some response out of this. I'm here to bring attention to County Resolution 92-11, which was written for my family, about my family, which sounds odd that I want to complain about it. But anyways, lately, one of the family members is not following the resolution, has locked some of us, locked, and in some cases, hold on, I've got a little bit nervous. I haven't been up here for a while. Let me start over. I'm here to bring attention to County Resolution 92-11. It was written for my family. Lately, one of the family members is not following the resolution, has locked and in some cases destroyed the roads to other members' property. We have talked to law enforcement, judges, and the county attorneys, and no one wants to confront
a certain member of the family. He has even denied access to firefighters putting out fires on the mountains. I was wondering how to get this resolution 9211 enforced so those of us who have ranches beyond his gates that he has locked and destroyed our access to can get our access back. And I have a copy of it here. I was going to bring hard copies to you guys, but the printer kind of went south. It says right here on the bottom, it is further resolved and ordered that such ingress and egress rights for public and emergency vehicles, all property owners, their guests, invitees, and persons lawfully conducting business on the land shall be retained to the extent required by ARS 28-1908. Maybe somehow we can get this resolved so me and my cousins can get back to ranching and not fighting with him so much to get our access. Anyways, that was all.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Ms. Gilman, this is the same, it sounds like a similar issue that we're dealing with the old Ranch Road stuff. So if we could get, I guess, something set up to address Mr. Klump's issue, and we'll do our best to try to, within the ability of what we can do. The rest might have to be up to the sheriff, so we'll have to get with him and figure that out too. But we'll look into it, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next up is Miss Tricia Girdette, and she's online. Miss Girdette, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you.
Ma'am, Happy New Year. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, supervisors. Tricia Girdette in Sierra Vista. I've been active in our election cycles for the past 8-10 years. I'm aware of them before that, but actually involved in the last few. And those elections have been fair and well run, and our ballot counting has been open to examination, and the results have been clear, and our elections are not compromised. So I want to say that, for example, I may have a firm belief that space lasers started forest fires, or that the sun revolves around the earth, but that doesn't make those beliefs true. So those who are concerned about our elections, I think, need to look at evidence around the elections. And I want to say clearly that mail-in ballots are a secure method of voting, period. On a totally different subject, I've learned recently about Jackie Watkins, and I want to congratulate her on her long career with Cochise County. I know we can't replace her expertise and knowledge immediately, but I hope her replacement will grow into the job equally well. My interactions with Jackie have been handled professionally over the years, and I wish her well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have George Adams. Mr. Adams? Yep. Yep.
I actually came here to talk about the road, but I guess we're doing that next meeting. But there's a couple other things I want to tell you. I've been here about 3 years. I live out close to Fred. And I recently got a letter and an email from, I guess you guys call it planning, where you get permits and stuff. Well, I had a heart attack, and I've diabetic right now. I had eye surgery just a week ago. And I get these letters that are really nasty. And I'm going to tell you something. If you can't overlook somebody's health condition, you guys have a problem. Also, when I moved here, I had an RV on my place that I was not living in. I repair hospital equipment, and I take that all over the U.S. Well, they're charging me like $125 or whatever.
and I can store an RV on my property. I looked it up, and you can't charge me anything. But you are. So the last time she sent me a bill or told me about a bill, says, no, I can store 2 RVs on my property according to the rules here. So what's the deal? I've told you guys before, quit driving out there on our properties looking for pennies. These guys come out to my property, take pictures, and tell me what's wrong, but then they want me to take pictures to give them progress. You're on my property every other week. You take the pictures while you're there. What do you want me to tell you? It's common sense. I don't know what's going on with the roads with all of this, but I've asked many times, and so has Fred. We don't know what's going on. You know, what are you looking for out there? Somebody building a shed? What's that going to gain you? $100? It's going to heal your constituents? You know, you need to talk to people. Quit writing this. My sister was an attorney, and I will tell you this. The rules crack me up. Common sense doesn't play anymore. I don't know what's going on. And just about the roads, Elon Musk has built 3 ships to go to the moon. Well, you've been talking about this road since that big meeting we had. So what's this take so long? I run companies for 45 years. We don't take that long to make decisions. So something's not right. That's all I got to say because I'm getting upset. So I need to shut up now. Thank you.
All right, sir. I'm going to go back to Ms. Morse since I couldn't hear what she had to say. So, Ms. Morse, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Hopefully, we'll have a better connection now. So you're welcome
I'm
again.
here.
We're
Can you
going to give you one more
I'm here.
shot.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good morning and Happy New Year. Today is the 5th anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. It appears that the president who tried to subvert that election just extracted the Venezuelan president who successfully stole his own. For a similar attempt to overthrow an election, the former Brazilian president is serving a 27-year prison sentence. Special counsel Jack Smith testified that Donald Trump violated federal law and was culpable for the January 6th insurrection. According to his deposition, the president knowingly lied to his supporters with claims of election fraud that targeted a lawful government function. Trump incited the violent mob, then watched passively while they destroyed federal property, assaulted law enforcement officers, and threatened the lives of his vice president and members of Congress. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone was one of 140 law enforcement officers who were brutally injured by Trump's thugs. Officer Fanone, a father of 4, was, quote, dragged down the Capitol steps, beaten with pipes, stunned with a taser, sprayed with chemical irritants, and threatened with his own gun. He suffered burns, a heart attack, a concussion, a traumatic brain injury, and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, as many officers were following this insurrection. Trump called this heinous act of political violence a, quote, day of love, and pardoned almost 1,600 convicted rioters, including those that assaulted Officer Fanone. I encourage you to watch Fanone's body cam footage of the January 6th riot and listen to Jack Smith's testimony. And I'd like to pause now for just a short moment of silence to remember the trauma of that day 5 years ago and those unspeakable acts of terror. I will then wrap up my allotted 3 minutes with another election-related topic. The Board of Supervisors recently expressed support for Ken Bennett's do-it-yourself election audit that would violate voters' privacy by making public cast vote records and ballot images. The Secretary of State warned you all that this scheme is unlawful. Cochise County voters demand that you use common sense, integrity, and factual evidence when considering any changes to our lawful election process. To borrow the words of Jack Smith, we want you to do the right thing the right way and for the right reasons. I thank you for your time and for the extra opportunity to make this happen. Thank you.
Anytime. We love the First Amendment here, Ms. Morris, so you're welcome. All right, that is it for the general call to the public. So now we will go to the agenda items. Can I get a motion to move consent agenda items 1 through 5, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve consent agenda items 1 through 5.
Second?
All right, any discussion? None? All right, the motion before the board is to approve consent agenda items 1 through 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved 3-0. All right, next up, we are going to do public hearings. Yep, here we go, public hearings. All right, so with that, can I get a motion to approve agenda item number 5, please?
I move that we approve consent agenda item number, is 5 or 6?
I'm sorry, 6.
Six?
I'm sorry, 6. I meant 6. I apologize. Thank you for catching that error. Yep.
I move that we approve consent agenda item number.
No,
six.
not consent agenda item.
hearing.
Public
Public
hearing.
hearings.
Yeah, there we go. That's okay. It's a
Numbers in there too. There's a whole bunch of numbers coming.
It's a new year. We got to get back in the zone. We got to get back in the
What am
zone.
I doing? We're public hearings.
Public hearing. Well, as soon as you make the motion, we're going to bang the gavel to enter the public hearing. So I need the motion for agenda item number 6, please.
Okay, I move that we approve agenda item number 6.
I'll just read the whole thing.
All right.
Oh, you want me to read? I'll read it. I read it to adopt zoning ordinance 26-01 to rezone tax parcels 203-16-007, 203-19-01BA, or is that 8? 018A, 20-19-036C, 202-44-017, 202-86-002, the west half of 202-44-012, and the west half of the east half of 202-67-002 from R36, Residential District, 1 dwelling per 36 square feet, to RU4, Rural District, 1 dwelling per 4 acres, pursuant to the application of the Adapture Renewables, Inc., and that is in Supervisor District 3.
Second.
All right. So now we will enter into a public hearing and we will go to Mr. Taylor for an explanation. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, board members. This is the staff presentation for docket RZ 2515, an applicant initiated rezoning request. The downzone approximately 900 acres from R36 to RU4. Again, the applicant is Adapture Renewables. I won't read the parcel numbers again, but this property is located on Patty Road near Wilcox. Again, the proposed zoning is RU4. The comp plan designations are rural. Property is currently used for grazing, and the proposed use is in the future, which would require a separate application, a special use application, is for a solar energy power plant. Again, the property is located near the city of Wilcox municipal boundary. There's RU4 zoning to the east and a mix of R36 GB and RU4 to the west. State lands are highlighted in blue. There are a few drone images. This would be viewing to the southeast. This would be also to the east with Patty Road to the left. This would be the southern portion of the project area. Patty Road to the right, this would be the northern portion of the project area. And this would be viewing to the north from approximately the southern boundary of the proposed project area. The applicant did provide a concept plan showing the rezoning area outlined in red. The remainder of the project area would be outlined in blue. The property is, the rezoning is 900 acres, approximately 900 acres. The area highlighted in blue is about 1,750 acres. So we would be looking at well over 2,000 acres for a proposed solar energy project that would come forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission under a special use application.
Talk louder, Matthew.
Grab all the
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, section 2.63 of the zoning regulations identifies factors to evaluate rezoning applications. As with most down zones, 6 factors are not applicable to this application. Staff finds that the request complies with the applicable factors. Adjacent properties are also zoned RU4. The proposed zoning would significantly reduce the number of allowed dwellings should the property be developed for residential use. Staff did not receive any opposition from nearby property owners and has not identified any factors not in favor. Again, it should be noted that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan land use designation of rural. Staff mailed 34 notices to property owners within 300 feet. All but 5 notices went to members of the Klump family who own the property, as well as the state of Arizona. Most responses received were also from the Klump family itself. We did receive comments from the city of Wilcox. They did not specifically comment on the proposed down zone, but indicated that they may not be in favor of a future solar energy project at this site. And we executed the public notification process back in November. Based on the factors in favor, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of docket RZ 2515 without special conditions by a vote of 7-2 during its meeting on December 10th, 2025. And staff also recommends approval of docket RZ 2515 without special conditions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members, that concludes our presentation.
Any questions for Mr. Tiller?
I do. Again, for the record, I'm not against solar power on rooftops, on windmills, for the opt-out community, but I do have real concerns about solar farms. And in fact, I think it behooves us to have a work session to discuss the issues of what solar farms do to the environment, to the ground, the fact that we have no way of dealing if there's a fire, there's no way we can afford to put it out, what that means, and whether we're even doing soil testing on the ones that we do have, like on Central, right there, I think it's the Twin Sisters. And if all these solar farms are actually following through with what they said they would do. I know that the one, I think it's the Twin Sisters, we're going to put trees. There's a guy right next to it, and they were supposed to put trees so you wouldn't have to look at all those solar panels, and they haven't done it. So I just want us to be really, really well-versed and well-educated on what solar farms really do to the environment, what happens when they decommission them, what happens to the land, because from everything I've looked on both websites that are for and against, the land can never go back to its natural habitat, and whether Cochise County even gets anything from it. From what I understand, a lot of this power is going to be sold to places like El Paso and Tucson and California. It's not going to reduce our electrical bills or really be a benefit to residents of Cochise County. And I hate to see us just give grazing land or just start these solar farms when we're really, I worked against one that was on there when I was campaigning. And the things that I found out, I think are really serious questions that we as a board have to really understand, especially when it comes to emergency management services. That's really lacking. So this is going to, I like the fact that it's going from high residential to RU4. And that's what this is about. It's just that designation, correct?
Correct.
And then they would have to then come to planning and zoning again to do the special permit to do the solar farm. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then we would then come to us, correct? After the planning and zoning decides their vote.
Supervisor Gomez, the special use authorization would go to the commission for approval. The only way that docket would appear before the Board of Supervisors would be if there was an appeal.
If there was an appeal. So you mean if they got refused by planning and zoning?
If the applicant did not successfully obtain a special use and chose to appeal the commission's decision, it would appear before the board. Correct.
But not if they do vote for it?
Unless there was some other aggrieved party who filed an appeal on an approval, the board would not see the special use.
That I'm concerned about. That we would not be able.
If I may add one thing,
yeah.
Supervisor Gomez, much of what you've said has been expressed multiple times by members of the commission as well. These issues are routinely brought up during commission meetings for these types of utility scale projects. And we are looking at doing a work session with the Planning and Zoning Commission next month.
Well, I would like to be,
this issue.
I would like to be able to hear it too. And I would suggest you talk to the guy named Dan Baker. I know you probably know him already. He's a little, very passionate about this, but he has a wealth of knowledge. And so I like to make sure that we hear those who are advocating against it because of the emergency management services that we don't provide or can't provide because of the monetary amount that would take. So maybe, is it a work session with who would be the ones that were presenting the information?
I don't recall the gentleman's name, but we do have someone coming in to talk about, I guess, the pros and cons of these utility scale projects.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to know who that is.
Sure.
And then I'm actually meeting with Dan Baker tomorrow to get like re-educated about this whole issue. And so I will send to you my concerns that I hope will be addressed in the work session, because I think we really, especially now, we really have to take care of our environment, know what we're doing, you know, what that means in the future if anything was to happen. Like, you know, Mr. Cox was saying there's never been a fire, and then there was a fire in Wilcox at the solar farm, and there was a lot of issues. So I think we just have to be really, really educated in where we're going with this. So thank you. But let me just so this is to downsize it, but if they get this special permit to go ahead with the solar farm, we would not be able to vote against it, correct?
Goes to P&Z.
P&Z, and that's it. Okay.
You can chat with your 3 appointees.
Well, yeah, but that's 3 out of 9. All right, thank you.
All right, next up, the applicant is able to provide a presentation. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Come on up. And then state your name for the record, please.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Keyshawn Coleman. I'm here on behalf of Adapture as well as the downzoning application. First, I want to thank you guys all for allowing me to be here today. I also want to express my thanks and gratitude for the discussions with the Planning Commission that occurred on December 10th and receiving their support. And then last but not least, of course, the Cochise County planning team and Matthew Taylor for their guidance throughout this process. We are not the landowners of the property. We are partnering with members of the Klump family, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to speak and come back and answer any questions you may have.
They're listed under the public comment period to speak. This is for the applicant. So you get as the applicant, you get to make your case. And then I could see here that the Klump family, there's 3 people that have requested to speak during the public comment period. So they'll be allowed to speak at that time. So this is your time to make the argument for the application.
Yes,
to rezone.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. And so as you know, we were discussing earlier, I think, you know, this meeting today is specifically regarding the downzoning. And I myself, and I'm here with our permitting manager, Bruce, we have watched all of the hearings for every special use application that has gone through, every renewable special use application that's gone through. We've watched all of the Board of Supervisor hearings. We understand a lot of the concerns from the county. And, you know, although we'd like to proceed with the downzoning first and continue that discussion related specifically to the downzoning today, I just wanted to inform you all that, you know, we're here to be partners with the community. We're here to be partners with the residents. We have reviewed applications that have been submitted by other developers and understand some of the concerns that the county may have as far as, you know, economic benefits. You know, we plan to go above and beyond and do a economic impact analysis, So based on that increased tax base, you know, where funds are going from that project, community partnership agreements, working with the fire department, you know, working on visual simulation analysis to see, you know, where from the city, based on input from stakeholders, you know, where could the project potentially be visible or where would it not be visible? It's very, very flat. So at this time, we don't assume there'll be, you know, substantial visual impacts, but that's something we'll include in our application as well. And then, of course, the environmental aspect as far as the field work, you know, wetland field works, biological field work, those are all things that we'll submit in the application. And on top of that, we're more than happy and would really love the opportunity to meet with you guys or any other stakeholders. So when we do move forward with the special use application, it can be as comprehensive as possible, and we can outline and address some of the concerns that you've had. In addition, as of now, we are planning to go through the interconnection process with APCO. So that would be, you know, local here. We wouldn't plan on working with El Paso or Tucson at this time.
So, so who you represent again?
Adapture Renewables.
Adapture. Okay.
Yes.
And are you going to be overseeing the actual construction?
So we have about 70 employees. We're pretty much a vertically integrated team. So we have, you know, developers, engineers, interconnection team. We then have a construction team that oversees the
So
construction.
you're gonna actually do the construction as well?
Yes, and that, well, we hire a third-party EPC.
Okay.
But we have a construction team that oversees their performance.
Okay.
And then, you know, some of the concerns that we've heard about, you know, managing the assets as they're operating, we in-house have a asset management team. So we'll, you know, manage the project to construction, we'll manage the project through construction, and then we manage the asset as it's operating.
Okay, so you're going to maintain and operate it. The goal here is not to build it and then transfer it or sell it to...
Yeah, correct. We are owner operator, so we don't plan to sell it to anyone else. We plan to own the project, sell the project locally at this time, and then demonstrate ways that we can provide, you know, local benefits through the special use process, you know, post the down zoning.
So it's just going to be a wholesale upload of electricity to the grid, and you're just going to do, it's going to be whoever buys it, buys it.
Well, the plan right now is APCO.
APCO.
The plan right now is APCO.
Can you tell me who is APCO
APCO, the local utility here.
in Wilcox?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And do they sell to other locations, other cities?
I can't speak on behalf of APCO. Unfortunately, I apologize. I'm not.
No, so you sell to them and then they can do with whatever they want with the power.
I'm not sure how they
So
work.
generally,
They are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Generally, what'll happen is the entity that runs the operation, which is these gentlemen here, will establish a contract with someone that delivers power, and then they have a negotiated kilowatt per hour rate that they will sell power generated from the solar farm to power company, right? And then the power company will then turn around and either sell it wholesale for a profit or sell it direct to retail to consumers.
Yeah.
So it depends on the business model, which will come, I'm sure, later. We'll find out about the business model, but right now this is again just the down zone to RU4 at this point. But appreciate it. Any questions for Mr. Coleman?
I have some comments that I can wait until all of the public comments.
Okay, all right. So if there's nothing for Mr. Coleman, thank you, sir.
One
Did you have one?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
So are you going to be doing soil testing before you would do anything to then have some kind of benchmark for if you are get the special permit and start building?
Yes, so at this point, the next step after this is to meet with Arizona Game and Fish, and based on some of our desktop and field work findings, to ensure that the field work that we're doing is both compliant with Arizona Game and Fish, but also meets their expectations. So we'll do our field work, conduct our field work based on their recommendations. So whatever protected species or plants or whatever concerns that they have, when we go out there, we ensure that our biologists and environmentalists are capturing this.
And this is 900 acres. And how many acres do you believe this solar farm, if you get the special permit, would take?
Eventually, as of now, less than 2,000 acres. I know
2,000 acres?
less than 2,000 acres, because there are avoidance features out there. You know, there's that big dry lake that was shown earlier, potentially some NWI wetlands, but also anything that comes up throughout our surveys in the special use application process. The biologists or cultural teams will let us know if there's anything that we need to avoid.
This is showing north of 186. It's not near the dry lake bed. This is on the other end of town. This is going out towards, from what, is that not the case? That's what the map shows.
Well, Mr. Chair, there was a small feature on this property as well, but he's not referring to the dry lake bed on the southern side.
Yeah, that's what so there's a small, I saw the picture of the small, this isn't the Playa large dry lake bed. Okay, I just want to make sure.
And how many panels on 1 acre?
That will come throughout our value engineering. You know, that's not something that we've.
It could be up to how many? There's usually a basic number. I think on 1 acre, is it about 1,000 panels?
I think, well, normally how we go is basically, megawatts per acres. We also look at a ground coverage ratio is more what we look at rather than total panels, because, for example, for a less efficient panel, it's going to require more land with more less efficient panels. And if you have more efficient panels, which we've seen, panels get much more and more efficient over time. We're not planning on starting construction for 3 to 4 years. So I think there's a lot that can change as far as technology by then.
And so you're assuming that technology is going to improve in the next 3 or 4 years?
We would hope. That's what the industry has seen.
And these panels will be raised above the ground, or would they be on the ground?
They would be ground mount. So they'd be piled into the ground, but off of the ground, if that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Miss Catherine Klump has requested to speak. Hey, good morning, Miss Klump. You got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Catherine Klump from Wilcox. I am owners of all the parcels that are mentioned here with my husband, my sons, and their families. This property's been in the family for at least 70 years. If you saw from the pictures, it's all little rolling sand hills, and it doesn't grow hardly anything. It is not conducive to successful ranching or farming. We've tried those. And there aren't really any neighbors close by that this would affect. But we feel this is going to be the best use of this property. It's not going to ever be developed. There's not enough water there to farm or ranch with it. So this would not take much water. It will benefit the county eventually. Like he said, when the tax rate is going to go up, the county will benefit from taxes. So we are in approval of this request, and we feel that this is like the perfect spot for this. This is not good farmland or any land that we would be taking that would not, that could not be used for something else. So we are in approval of this. And we just feel this is a good use for this land. And if you wait until electricity is needed, it takes quite a while to develop this kind of thing. So you have to start before the electricity is needed to be able to provide it for everyone.
The electricity is already needed.
Yes.
We have a significant shortage now, so
Right,
we're
and all
already-
these things that are coming in and people that are coming in, you're going to need more electricity. So in order to get this going, we need to go ahead and have the land rezoned. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have a question.
Any
for me.
questions from Ms. Klump?
No, I'm just very concerned about emergency management services. We don't have any in Cochise County. So if anything is to happen in the near future or 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, doesn't mean that the county would be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest concern. And just, 2,000 acres of solar panels and how many can be on each acre
That is a lot.
is a lot.
Yeah.
And my concern is that we are voting on something that we have yet to understand all the consequences from. And I think so. I mean, I wish this could be tabled until we could have these work sessions and have a better understanding, both for the Planning and Zoning Commission and for the Board of Supervisors, all the things that entail when you do these huge solar farms. It increases the heat. And I understand you are looking in an area that possibly can't be for anything else, but I am concerned if something happened that we wouldn't be able to deal with the emergency because we just don't have anything. We don't have a plan. And until we could, I think you have to have a plan if an emergency was to happen before you can go forward with something that's so big. So those are just my concerns.
Okay. Well, I know that there's all kinds of solar farms all over the world, and I have not heard of, and I haven't heard anything from SSVEC that they've had any problems with that.
When I fought against the other one, there have been fires in Korea, there have been fires all over the world, and it's been serious issues. That's why I think it's really important to hear both sides so that everyone can be well educated on what would happen if something was to catch on fire. And I've been told, yeah, no, it never can catch on fire. And then we had it happen in Wilcox, about a year ago, and we weren't able to deal with it. And thankfully they were able to handle it quickly. But if it was a large scale situation, it'd be a much different story. But anyway, those are my concerns.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can answer that.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that also once the project is supposed to be like a 40-year or something project, we have the land leased to Adapter. If that ever is discontinued, the land still belongs to the Klump family and we revert back to the grazing land. And we don't feel that it's going to disturb the wildlife or...
Nothing there.
Yeah, there's... so anyway, we just want to express our approval and hope that you will.
The only question I have for you is Mr. Taylor had mentioned that he had gotten some input from the city of Wilcox and they had concerns they hadn't really expressed in favor or opposition to the project. Have you guys heard anything what their concerns might be?
No, they haven't said a thing. And I'm the town historian and I'm very involved in what goes on in the city. So I'm not sure who made that comment or
Okay.
I hadn't heard them comment at all.
All right.
Project.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, next up, we have Mr. Philip Klump. Mom covered it? All right. All right, and then how about Connor Klump? Same deal? All right, you guys make life easy. All right, so that's the extent of our public speakers for this period. So with that, is there any additional discussion on the rezone from R36,000 to RU4?
Mr. Chair, I have further comments.
Sure. Oh, Mr. Crosby.
Ms. Gomez's points are well taken, and these include concerns about water contamination, the benefit to our county, battery fires, and retardants. We've heard about the problem with the retardants and how they're presumably forever chemicals and so on. Although at this point there's no apparent reason to deny rezoning, the applicant will get the impression that the special use permit ball is rolling if we approve this.
I am concerned that we have, once this is rezoned, that there's nothing that comes back to us to be able to ask questions or to be able to say, okay, these are concerns, whether it's the ground soil or the water contamination or the heat that will be created. I mean, 2,000 acres is a lot. And I've heard as much as, 1,000 panels per acre. I think that's kind of low. I just think that this is going forward because we won't be able to address this again if we vote for this. And I do like that it's rezoning. I understand that maybe it's an area that would be good for solar farms, but I don't think that we have the kind of knowledge to actually say, yes, this is a great
So you do have the input. So input number one is, as you'd already mentioned, Mr. Taylor, about having a work session to discuss. And I've already addressed this issue with Ms. Gilman, and I've gotten your emails on the... I had concerns on mitigation post because of what's going on off of I-8 with the big solar field being abandoned out there.
Right.
And not having sufficient bonds to recover the area because the company is going bankrupt and they're just going to leave it. So those issues are some issues that I'd like to get addressed. So I think you're correct in having a work session to have the discussion on those issues to make sure that the county, if we decide to implement a resolution or some policy that's specifically related to the approval process for that will then go through planning and not necessarily through planning and zoning, but through our folks here at Development Services and they will then be able to put that into the process. So our input can be put into that process. And I think you're correct
Okay.
about having work sessions to develop that policy and then have a resolution to implement that policy that then we can pass on to the appropriate director.
So let's just be the devil's advocate and say that, you know, after the work sessions and everything, we see that there are definitely concerns. And the Clown family wants maybe then rezone back, as they say, maybe solar farms are not going to be the way we should go with this big solar farm. Then they'd be able to come back and rezone and rethink what they're doing with the land. And I just don't know who this company is. When I fought Horace, they ended up being a company from England that you could never get hold of.
Yeah.
And I know it is in your district, and I would, you know, take your concerns about it and all.
I would rather a nuclear plant be
Yeah, I would
built
too.
out there than solar, but that's, you know, again, I got to respect, of course, the private property rights of the property owner too. They have sort of an implied right to develop their property as long as it doesn't provide that's always been my rule, is if it's not providing a negative impact to neighbors, I think that property owners should be able to do what they want to do with their own private property. So your concern is, of course, an effect to the neighbors, right? So,
Well, it's not only that, but it's like what happens when there is a fire, because there have been
Right.
fires,
Right.
and we don't have the resources to put it out. The contaminants are not going to stay within that area, but they're going to spread throughout the county. We'll have the cost of trying to figure out how to take care of it. Maybe lawsuits come from it. So I think we have to be very, very diligent about how we go forward with these solar farms.
Right. So having that work session where we could talk about separate rules for just the solar farm, separate rules for just battery banks, separate rules for mitigation if the company were to go bankrupt and decide not to or to abandon the site, how it would be remediated and returned back or whatever. Those are discussions that we need to set up a work session to have, and then have, of course, Matthew and Ms. McLaughlin there.
So what you're saying is that if we vote to rezone this, we could then, in the next year or so, have resolutions that would deal with the issues that I'm concerned
Correct.
about. Emergency management, how it would decontaminate the soil and all that. And once we put it in, what then happens to the Clump family if those resolutions go
Well,
through and keeps them?
The way I see it is that we establish the policy for the approval process that we would then direct to Ms. McLaughlin's organization within the county that handles these permit requests, these special use permits. They would have to modify, which I think they probably could, their engineering and design to meet those requirements if there's any issues or concerns that we basically put into policy that they have to mitigate or eliminate through their design process. Then they would have the opportunity to present that both to Development Services and the Planning and Zoning Commission that they have met the requirements of that policy. So that's part of the discussion that we would have during the work session to establish that. I mean, the guy did say he's looking at 2 to 3 years out down the road before they start construction. So there is some time here to deal with that. And that, what I don't want to do, and I get where you're coming from, is change the rules on the guy midstream and have him spend an ungodly amount of money. Whereas if he knows up front early what the rules are, then he can mitigate that and adapt their plan to accommodate those rules. So having a meeting and a discussion, and if we decide to go forward with the change in policy by changing a resolution on the rules for solar projects, it would be better to do that sooner rather than later.
That's my problem too.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments, Mr.
Yes,
Crosby?
I believe that we have the decommissioning policy for solar panels already. Isn't that correct? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Crosby, we, in section 2.51 of the zoning regs, we have a section specifically dedicated to solar projects, and that is included in that. I think that as part of the work session process, if the board suggests or indicates a desire to implement certain requirements with these projects, that's a great thing about the special use process is we can implement any number of conditions.
When was that last updated, the decommissioning policy? Or when was that voted on?
I want to say 2019, but I
think it was 2023.
2023?
It was sooner than that. Okay. My concern about it was bonds to cover the cost if the company goes bankrupt, and that's the
That's the most essential part of it.
right.
Because from what I understand, most of them, I don't know, I mean, we have to look at the ones that exist because from what I understand, they leave and they leave everything there. But you're saying that the decommission policy we have would negate that. They couldn't just get up and leave the panels and everything there for us to have to decommission.
That's clearly the board's intent.
Right. And what we have to look at is the comps with regard to remediating the site if it's abandoned. And that's what my only concern is. Some of these things, when they get implemented and they set the amount for remediation, and then they find out, like in Pinal County, that now that cost is significantly more than they originally estimated, and the county's on the hook for the difference. That's the concern. So we have to make sure that we're setting those numbers for remediation properly.
And as part of that, they do have to update those numbers every 5 years.
Right.
There's that legislation.
So again, this would be a great work session. And again, we look forward to getting this set up so we can have these discussions. If we come up with some policies and update the policy, we'll vote on it and pass a resolution, and then our team can take it forward and make sure that when they apply the special use permit, they'll know what the rules are, and then they can design accordingly to accommodate those. The emergency piece too, we'll have to have that discussion as well for what we're going to.
Typically, we require that as a condition of a special use and emergency management plan.
Yeah, but
we could put that in the regular.
Are we responsible for that emergency? But then you're expecting a company to be able to invest to do the emergency management of it. I've found that to be not necessarily always the best way to go. I mean, if it's going to affect the county residents, then the county needs to be up to date on how we would handle it. Because what if you have a company that just doesn't do it well? And I don't know this company, so I don't know. They have other solar farms, if they have invested in other properties, and I just found the last one was so, I mean, it was ridiculous, and it almost went through, but people started realizing and investigated the company to see that it was really a scam. So I'm just kind of got a lot of red flags, and I think that I believe in private property owners doing what they can, but I have a concern that if I vote yes, this is saying that, yeah, go ahead. And yet we have a work session. I mean, I would love to table this and then do the work session so that they don't feel that they have the green light. And then we say, hey, well, you're going to have this, this, and this. And then the company says, well, hey, it's too much. I don't want to do it. I mean, that's my concern.
Mr. Chair, I have further comment.
Sure.
Okay, so again, Ms. Gomez's points are well taken. And so my comment would be that we say for the record that even though there's no reason to deny rezoning, that the special use permit ball is not rolling, and therefore the applicant should not get another impression.
I think that that's fair because I want them, I just feel such a concern about the solar farms that I think that this is kind of like a catch-22. We vote yes, and it does seem to me it would say, yeah, go ahead. Because then we don't get to see this again at all because there are no neighbors. Unless if we do the work session and we put in policies, they say they're not going to do anything for 3 to 4 years. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, I guess.
Well, they may not start construction for 3 to 4 years, but you got to remember these guys are going to start their design effort. Yeah, their engineering design effort. So we need to be in front of that and do this as quickly as possible so we don't delay them because they're waiting to see what we're going to do. So we need to decisively have that discussion, and then if we need to modify the resolution or the ordinance rather by having a resolution to modify the ordinance. So, but that's got nothing immediately, and I get Mr. Crosby's point. This is, I mean, we could, if you want, add, I'm trying to think of the language that you would say that this is not an indication of approval of potential future permitting for projects or whatever. It's just to rezone the parcel.
If the parties that are involved understand that what we're talking about, that suffices to me, and it seems
all right,
like
so we don't need
parties
to put it
involved are here and
right.
they understand
all right.
what we're saying.
Okay.
All right, I'm fine with that. Any other questions for our team here? None? Ms. Crosby? All right. Did you have something you want to add, Dylan? No. Okay, great. All right. So with that, we're back to the agenda item and the question before the board. Hold on, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Discussion is over, so we're now going to close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed, and now we are back to the agenda item number 6 that was moved. Any last minute discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right. All right. So the motion before the board is to adopt zoning ordinance 2506 to rezone the tax parcels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From R36 to RU4. All those in favor say aye.
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 I have to say no.
Okay. So motion carries 2-1. Motion is approved. All right. So with that, we will now go to number 7. So I get a motion to move agenda item number 7, please.
Mr. Chair, I move we adopt zoning ordinance 26-02 to rezone tax parcel 404-02-303 from RU2 Rural District 1 dwelling per 2 acres to RU4 Rural District 1 dwelling per 4 acres pursuant to the application of Brittany Mace, Supervisor District 2.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. All right. So with that, we are now going to open another public hearing. Public hearing is now open. We'll go to Mr. Taylor for an explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. This is the staff presentation for docket RZ 2516. An applicant initiated rezoning request to downzone property from RU2 to RU4. The applicant is Brittany Mice. The property is located in Desert Sky subdivision near McNeil at Moonbeam Drive. That would be 40402-303. The requested rezone is to RU4. Comp plan designations are rural. Property is undeveloped. The proposed use is residential. The applicant has indicated the intent to develop the property for residential land use using the county's owner builder program. Property again is located in Desert Sky subdivision, approximately 3 miles east of Highway 191. Property is zoned RU2. Desert Sky was platted in 1971 as a 5-acre lot subdivision. At some point, I'm not really sure if it was originally RU2 or subsequently RU4 in 75 when the county adopted zoning regs, but we have seen several applications over the past 7 years, about 10 in the last 10 years, to downzone the property from RU2 to RU4 to participate in the opt-out program. This is a drone image viewing to the southeast. This shows the very limited development in the area. This would be viewing to the west. There is an active code compliance case for this recreational vehicle. It's a 1950s era recreational vehicle on the property. There is no established principal use, so there should not be an accessory use such as storing an RV. In its current condition, it doesn't look like it's habitable either, and there's no provision within the zoning regulations or the building code with which to rehabilitate that unit for habitable use. So that is a code compliance issue. Section 2.63 of the zoning regs identifies factors to evaluate rezoning applications. 9 factors apply. Again, the applicant intends to participate in the county's owner builder program in the future to build a residence. The request complies with most applicable factors. The request is also compatible with the developing rural residential growth pattern, which is very limited in this area. Very few of these lots are developed for residential land use. And the request also reduces the number of allowed principal dwellings from 2 to 1. The applicant did not provide a concept plan at this time. I don't believe that she's ready to move forward. She had mentioned, I think, 5 to 10 years with which to look at applying for permits. There's also an active code compliance action on this property, which was created by a complaint. Staff executed the public notification process in November. Mailing notices to 9 property owners within 300 feet, did not receive any written responses in support or opposition. Based on the factors in favor, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of docket 2516 without special conditions by a vote of 9-0 during its regular meeting on December 10th. Staff also recommends approval of this docket with the following condition. The recreational vehicle on the property constitutes a code violation and therefore must be removed. I will note that the commission took a separate motion and removed that condition as part of their recommendation. So the commission is not recommending a special condition, however, staff is.
Yeah,
I'm confused. Why would, if you have a code violation, you have a code violation. Why would the planning and zoning saying they could exempt them from that? I'm sure I'm asking you.
no, they're exempting the condition of the approval of the rezoning.
Oh, based on that, they have to be cleaned up.
Right. What staff is recommending is that we maintain that condition, that it is a condition of the rezoning, they remove the zoning,
Yeah.
the violation.
Okay.
Is anything else, Mr. Taylor?
That's it.
That's it. That's
Thank
it. So is the applicant here, Miss Mist here? Or is she online? Brittany Mist? No? She's not here.
So I'm sorry, because I had thought it was something else. So what this is that we will allow for this residential use, and she's going to do 5-10 years, but she has to remove, take care of the code violation, correct? Before she could pursue and get a permit to build.
Correct.
Okay.
So we don't have that in there. It's not listed in the agenda item as a condition pursuant to approval to remove the trailer. Is not on the agenda item. So how do we make sure that is conveyed, that the condition of the rezoning is that she has to remove the trailer from the property?
So in the caption, sir, there's nothing about with special conditions.
The agenda item is just to approve the rezone from RU2 to RU4 pursuant to the action of Brittany Mist. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there that says that this rezoning is only approved on condition that she resolved the code violation by removing the property.
It's not. I wonder if we could have the agenda item up on the big screen for the public's
Yeah.
benefit.
Laura could stick it up there.
There you go.
Number 7 there.
And Mr. Chair, we typically don't reference conditions in the captions, but it is in the zoning ordinance.
Oh, it is in the actual ordinance itself. Okay. All right. Let me see where that is.
So is it the very last page? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It would be on page 2 of the draft zoning ordinance.
And therefore must be removed.
Mr. Taylor or Ms. McLaughlin, did the applicant express her plans about what kind of dwelling she might want to create?
Supervisor Crosby, she did not indicate
Okay.
the type of residence, just that it would be through the owner builder program.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be better to say the staff recommendation would say, based on the factors in favor, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of docket, blah, 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 with special conditions during, I think I'm trying to see where it's with the following special condition. Okay.
I have another question. Did the applicant understand what we're talking about here, that the trailer or the recreational vehicle has got to go? Does she understand that, or does she think she's going to rehab it? Or do you know?
Mr. Chair, Supervisor Crosby, the applicant is aware of the requirement. There is obviously a sentimental attachment to this unit, and she would like to retain it. Our recommendation was to relocate it somewhere, put it in the storage, and rehab it off-site.
So how long does she have before how long does she have to clean it up?
Supervisor Gomez, there is an active code compliance action for this item that will move forward starting today after the board's decision.
So
The rezone does not go into effect because a condition of the rezoning is that the code compliance issue has to be resolved before the rezoning can occur.
The rezoning will take effect with the signing of the ordinance 30 days thereafter per state statute, but future permits would not be issued without compliance with this requirement. And there is a separate concurrent code action that will continue. This item would likely appear before the zoning violations hearing officer at some point within the next month or so.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Well, so that means that if we vote for this, then she has an impending drop dead date because of the hearing officer. Is that correct? Or she's
Yes, regardless, that she has a code enforcement case.
Okay.
That's
No matter
the
what the vote is today, she still has this hearing coming up.
She's not going to get any permits to be able to do anything until the code violation is resolved.
Correct.
Right. All right. I'm cool with that. Has anyone requested to speak on this agenda item? I do not see anyone, so no one has requested to speak. The applicant is not here, so that's it. If there's no other questions, none. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. All right, next up will be a vote on the agenda item. Any discussion amongst the board before any other discussion?
No.
Oh, I lost my page. Yeah, flip it back. All right, so the motion before the board is to adopt zoning ordinance 2602 to rezone tax parcel 40402-303 from RU2 to RU4. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. It is now rezoned. All right, next up, can I get a motion to move agenda item number 8, please?
I move that we adopt zoning ordinance 26-03 to rezone tax parcel 408-16-009E from R36 residential district, one dwelling per 36 square feet, to GB General Business District pursuant to the application of Snell and Welmer LLP on behalf of property owner Freeport Minerals Corporation. And that's in Supervisor District 2.
Second. All right, we will now enter into a public hearing on this, and we will go to Mr. Taylor for an explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. This is the staff presentation for docket RZ 2517. An applicant initiated rezoning request to rezone property from R36 to general business. The applicant again is Snell and Wilmer. This is Freeport Minerals property. The property is located at the northwest corner of State Route 80 and US 191. It totals approximately 102 acres. That's APN 408-16009E. Again, the proposed zoning is GB. The comprehensive plan designation is developing, and GB is a consistent zoning district with that plan designation. Current use of the property is currently undeveloped, and the proposed use is undetermined.
That's 102 acres that Douglas wants to annex, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that's on 191 and 80, so it's on the west side, northwest side?
Be on the northwest corner, correct. Again, the property is located on the northwest corner of Highway 80 and 191, just west of the city of Douglas municipal boundary.
Okay.
The county's comprehensive plan does designate the property as developing and general business is consistent. And most of the surrounding properties up to this property are also designated by the plan as developing. So you could certainly see some more applications in the future to a non-residential zoning district.
So let me ask you something. If Freeport, you rezone it, and then Douglas would buy it from them or could annex by purchasing the land? Or whoever wanted to?
It could, well, Supervisor Gomez, the property could certainly be annexed by Douglas. It would still remain privately owned, but it would receive infrastructure support from the city.
Okay.
And the property may not be ripe until that occurs, as far as ripe for development.
Okay.
The request again is to rezone the property to GB, which is an extension of the GB zoning to the east, which is also Freeport property. Concept plan was not provided as the future land use or land user has not been identified at this time. These are some drone images. This would be viewing to the northwest, to the west. That's the ADOT facility there at the bottom left. This would be viewing to the east. This is viewing to the south. This would be to the east of Copper Avenue, where there's a very significant floodplain on this property, which could constrain future development. This is viewing to the west. Some of these residents here along Purtle Avenue are located within Calumet Addition, which dates back to, I believe, 1904. And here's some, this would Parnell Street, and there's also some additional residences there, also included with Calumet Addition. Section 2.63 of the zoning regs identifies factors to evaluate zoning applications. Most factors apply to this rezone, and future development will be subject to either county or City of Douglas site development standards. The proposed zoning is consistent with the county's comprehensive plan future land use designations. The request does comply with most applicable factors. Business uses are appropriate along freeways, highways, and in major intersections such as State Route 80 and Highway 191. The upzone would facilitate commercial development along Highway 80. Staff did not receive any oppositions from nearby property owners. Again, the applicant did not provide a concept plan as we don't have a future use identified. And there are single-family residences to the north within Calumet Addition that could be impacted by future non-residential development of this property. The applicant sent letters as required by the zoning regulations on 31 October, and staff notified this docket between 14 and 19 November. Staff mailed 43 notices to owners within 750 feet. We received 2 written responses in favor. I also received a phone call from a property owner who has properties within Calumet Addition who stated they were in favor, but they did not provide us with anything in writing. We've also received a letter from the City of Douglas in support. Based on the factors in favor, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this docket. Vote was 9-0, and that occurred on December 10th, 2025, with this following special condition. A 20-foot landscape buffer is required at the time of development along property lines adjacent to Calumet Addition. And staff also recommends approval of docket RC 2517 with the above special condition. Just to note, Mr. Chair and board members, we've recommended these types of landscape buffers before, whether it's a no disturb buffer or if it's fresh vegetation for some of the properties in the area that are upzoning if they are adjacent to existing residential uses, and in this case they are.
So would that include like a wall or something there? Or?
We would just be asking for a 20-foot landscape buffer, which
That's
could
it,
be
just
a no
something-
disturb buffer. Yeah, no
20
wall.
feet seems awful short, but that's okay, I guess.
The Southeast Arizona Medical, the hospital, is that in this area? Do you know?
No, this is
No. Well, that's from the corner on,
It would be more to the northwest.
or to the northwest of where the hospital.
This is a great spot. Seems like a future home of a Circle K or a QT or a Love's Truck Stop.
That's what they're.
Just saying.
Or a hospital. Just saying.
No, it's a bad spot for a hospital. It's a bad one. That's a bad. Truck stop or QT or Circle K.
There's going to be so many truck stops we won't know what to do. Everyone wants to go to truck stop.
Well, now competition is king. But if you look at the words, when you build something like that, location, 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 this intersection is like the location, if you think about it. So it's a great spot. So any other questions for Mr. Taylor?
No.
All right. Is anyone here from Freeport, McMoran?
Also we have the company online.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just trying, this is an opportunity for the applicant to make their case before we do public comment. So is the applicant wanting to make a?
Yes, good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Mike Merowitz. I'm with Snell and Wilmer on behalf of Freeport Minerals. Mr. Taylor gave a great thorough presentation, so I don't have a tremendous amount to add. I'll just note a couple of things. Freeport also owns the property that's directly to the east of the site. That's about 144 acres, and then also owns property to the south. And you can see it there. That property to the east is already zoned general business district, so the same zoning that we're requesting today. And so really the intent of this application, we think, makes sense. It will match the existing zoning of Freeport's property to the east there, but then also will bring the property into conformance with the comprehensive plan designation of developing to accommodate the eventual development. And just very lastly, I know Mr. Taylor mentioned the support letter from the City of Douglas, but I do think that is helpful to show since this is property that is adjacent to the boundaries of the City of Douglas. And in that letter, the city notes that they believe this request is compatible with responsible land use planning and is consistent with their general plan. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have, but would respectfully request your approval in accordance with the recommendation provided by the Planning Commission as well as staff and subject to the condition that was recommended by staff.
Any questions? None? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. All right, we will now go to the public comment period. Was that Mr. Merowitz? Oh, he was listed to speak anyway, so I guess we killed two birds with one stone. All right, so then there's no one that has requested to speak. So with that, Yes, yes, it is a public hearing, ma'am. Would you like to speak? Sure. You have 3 minutes if you so desire. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Diana Lamar from Douglas, Arizona. It makes sense to me that the request for redesignation is allowed, but I just want to generally say that I think that there is a real lack of vision in terms of literally what we are going to see on Highway 80 with a proposed new port of entry. We have difficult transportation lanes, 2-lane highways. I don't personally want to see a bunch of Circle Ks along Highway 80. And I just urge and assume that you will take into consideration what the actual vision is going to be. What is Highway 80 going to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? And do our very best to balance industry and environment, industry and quality of life. So I just wanted to quickly say that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. She's speaking your tune.
I know.
So-
So I haven't, to answer your question, we are looking at doing a road map, like a strategic plan for the port of entry, how it's going to impact 191, 80, so that we have a good vision on development, that it just doesn't become warehouses and truck stops, but it actually benefits the city of Douglas by actually having an economic plan, which we haven't had. So in the next couple of months, I'm going to try to do, I'm not going to try, I will be doing an economic development workshop, getting people's, input in the community and people in McNeil and all that area, how we're going to deal with the transportation issues of the truckers, starting a new Port of Authority board that has all stakeholders able to sit at the table instead of just being controlled by 1 or 2 families. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to make this a vision that everyone benefits from. Environmental, economic, medical tourism, all those things. And we don't want to make the mistakes of Nogales or Yuma. So the Board of Supervisors is very intent on, in the next 3 months, doing a vision, a mission, a goal of what we want. We need economic development in our area, because otherwise we're going to, die on the vine, cattle, minerals, all that. How are we going to be able to do all this that everyone benefits in a sound, environmental, economic way? So I know you, Diane, and I'll let you know when we have those workshops so that you can be there and listen to what's going to happen and what the vision is, and have input from the community.
I mean, to her point, there has been, as you know as well, a huge disconnect between the federal government's
Yes.
sort of plan and the state
Yes.
plan, and then, of course, us as a county. So there has been that disconnect. And again, credit to you, Ms. Gomez, for trying to solve that problem and fix it. But I get her concern, and I know it's there. That has been an issue. But
And if we can't get 40 million for a road, and ADOT can't give us this money, not even yet, even though we're building the building, then I am going to go to DC in February and ask Homeland Security, because it is a federal project, for the money to build the road, and see as much as I can get to make sure the infrastructure is there, because we have a building being built but no pipes to bring internet, sewer, water, and no roads. So we don't even have a road that goes nowhere. So, I understand your concern, and I'm fighting, I'm working really hard to try to figure it out. And with this board, they're very supportive. So we'll get a vision and we'll get a plan.
all right. Any
Chairman,
other public comment?
Chairman Antonori, there is one person online, Trisha Gerdet.
Oh, Ms. Jurdet. Okay, Ms. Jurdet, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. An issue that has bothered me and came up again on this one is notification of nearby property owners about a proposal, any proposal. And it seems like kind of a joke when the nearby property owner is yourself. So it occurred to me, I wonder if it would make some sense for the county to examine applications for rezones where you notify nearby property owners. If it's not somebody other than who's asking for the rezone, in other words, they own surrounding property, maybe we could have a new rule that says you keep going until you hit someone new. So that was an idea. Just putting it out there because otherwise I'll forget it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right.
Okay, so.
Any other people from the public wishing to speak? None. I'll go to Mr. Crosby.
Once again, I reiterate, desalinization. Desalinization. And if you don't do it, you're going to wish you did in, well, pretty short time, I would say.
And you need nuclear power to power desalinization. So nuclear power, desalinization. There we go. All right. All right. It's all uphill. All right. Any other public comment? None, none, none. Okay. We're going to close the public hearing. All right. Any discussion last minute before we look at the motion? One last time. Let me flip back to it here. All right. So with that, if there's no discussion, the motion before the board is to adopt zoning ordinance 2603 to rezone tax parcel 408-16009E from R36 residential. Am I reading the right one? Yeah. Yep. To general business pursuant to the application by Snell and Wilmer. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And it is hereby approved 3-0. All right. Next, we have another public hearing. So let's go to agenda item number 9. Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we adopt zoning ordinance 26-04 to repeal zoning ordinance 25-14 and revert the zoning of tax parcels 407-68-007A, 407-68-008B, 407-68010, and 4768013E from LI Light Industry District to RU4 Rural District 1 dwelling per 4 acres pursuant to the application of Tactical Holdings LLC Supervisor District 2.
Can I get a second?
I'm sorry, second.
That's all right. All right. So with that, we will now open the public hearing and go to Mr. Taylor for an explanation of why we are going one way and now going back the other way. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members. This is the staff presentation for an applicant-initiated request to revert the zoning of approximately 116 acres at the southwest corner of Highway 80 and James Ranch Road from LI back to RU4. The rezone to LI was approved by the board pursuant to the adoption of Ordinance 2514 on July 22nd, 2025. The applicant is Tactical Holdings LLC. Again, the property is located at Highway 80 and James Ranch Road, encompassing 4 tax parcels. The reversion was, the request is to revert the zoning back from industry to rural and repealing Ordinance 2514. The property is undeveloped and the proposed use is undetermined. Property is located approximately 4 miles west of the City of Douglas municipal boundary. County's comprehensive plan designate the properties as developing, and light industrial is consistent with that designation. RU4 is not consistent with that designation. A little bit of background on docket RZ 2508, and that is what this reversion is request is for. The applicants submitted their application on 30 May. There was a concurrent application on a parcel to the south that was docket RZ 2507. The graphic to the right represents both of those properties. The one to the east of James Ranch Road on the right-hand side was 07. The one to the north was 08. So we're talking about 08 today, the one at the hard corner of Highway 80 and James Ranch Road. The commission recommended conditional approval by a vote of 7-0 on 22 July. The board conditionally approved the rezone to 3-0. On 12 December, the applicant filed a reversion application. identifying two things. Number one, the dedications required by the county make development economically infeasible of this property. Number two, the applicant was unaware of the extent of the dedication until after the BOS adoption of the ordinance and approval of the rezone. These are a couple of the dedication documents. The one to the left is the right-of-way. The one to the right is the drainage easement. Obviously, these are pretty substantial easements. However, these are routine exactions that are usually incorporated into a rezoning application for new development. To do infrastructure, we need land, and to acquire the land, it's usually done through a dedication process as part of a land entitlement action. There's a couple of drone images. This would be viewing to the southwest. This is viewing west, and this is viewing to the northwest. Staff mailed 51 notices to owners within 600 feet. We did not receive any responses in favor or opposition to the reversion. Factors for the reversion, the applicant did file an official application requesting the reversion with the county. The zoning regulations provides for reversions. Factors against, this would repeal a duly adopted ordinance by the Board of Supervisors. RU4 zoning is not consistent with comprehensive plan designations of these parcels. Exactions are an established method to acquire easements for future infrastructure, and public funds will likely be needed in the future to acquire these easements through a separate process. If the board reverts the zoning, the board repeals Ordinance 2514 and also voids the special condition requiring the right-of-way and easement declarations. Mr. Chair and board members, this concludes staff's presentation.
Are you up to speed on what's going on here?
Yeah.
Are you up to speed on what's going on here?
I would be glad to hear, if we could go back to page number 5, please. And under the December 12th, it says dedications make development economically infeasible. And if it's appropriate to hear from the applicant, I would like to hear from the applicant if they want to address that point.
Me here?
Sure, before we ask, so we're back with Mr. Taylor. Any questions regarding this for Mr. Taylor? And then I can go to the applicant next.
So they didn't understand when they rezoned it that to be able to develop it, you need infrastructure like utilities and stuff like that. And they didn't understand how much land would be needed, which is pretty much all the same across the board, correct? I mean, are we taking more land than's necessary?
Supervisor Gomez, it's situational. All applications are different. I think because of the new port and the infrastructure required along James Ranch, along with the fact that it fronts on Highway 80, there is a significant land area that would be acquired here. You're talking close to a third of the land area of the hard corner for infrastructure. And I think the applicant's point is that they really didn't understand the scope of the dedication throughout the rezoning application process, either from start to finish until after the board had adopted it. And they were able to see these legal descriptions that actually digest what they said, because it's about 27 acres of dedicated area.
All right, let's, any other questions for him? All right, is anybody here from Tactical Holdings or Mr. Hardeep Chira here? Anyone? Oh, yes, sir. Can you please come to the microphone, please? Oh.
Is he online?
Oh.
Gary's online. He's the
Okay, he's listed under the request to speak as a public speaker, but that's you want me to just defer to him?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Earlman, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your consideration here. And I think Mr. Taylor fairly presented the situation. When the Board of Adjustment approved made their conditional recommendation, at that time the legal descriptions for the dedicated easements were not completed, or at least they weren't available, and they weren't provided to Tactical Holdings until after that Board of Adjustment hearing. When Tactical Holdings received the legal descriptions, they forwarded them over to their surveyor so that they can be interpreted. Then a little bit later, they met with the surveyor and then realized what was being taken. By that time, the Board of Supervisors had acted and passed the ordinance. So it is true. We didn't understand the scope of what was being taken. Essentially what we're talking about here is the total acreage of all the property is 115 acres. And the dedications provide for rendering 27 acres unusable. So more than a quarter of the property is rendered unusable by this act. And of course, had we understood that beforehand, we would have withdrawn the application before it went to you the last time. And with that in mind, that's basically the reason for our request today. Essentially, our goal is to basically put everything back to ground zero so that we can start over. Then we can regroup, we can negotiate and work with development services and work out a plan for this property that both makes sense for the property owner, but at the same time satisfies the needs of the county. And essentially, in order to do that, we just need to get back to square one. And essentially, that's what we want to convey to you today. Unless you have any additional questions, those are my comments.
I guess more questions for Mr. Taylor. Did you want to?
My comment was that when the last speaker first started out, he said, Mr. Taylor fairly presented, and that's what I like to hear. And
Yeah.
I hope that we
So here's the confusion that I have, and I got a brief explanation from staff on what was going on here. So I'm trying to get a better understanding. So if this area, which is right near the port of entry, if this area is going to be a light industrial or a significant business area, there has to be sufficient easement for traffic and roads coming in and out of those areas. So the county put that stipulation in when we approved the zoning change to light industrial for that very reason, that you have to have a sufficient road there. So we needed basically the rights of way established to put in a sufficient road that would handle the type of traffic that goes into that area. In addition, by building warehouses and parking lots and stuff, water runs off of those things that doesn't soak into the ground. So you have to have drainage easements there to handle that as well. And I guess engineering was the one that made the recommendation on that, I assume. All right, so there's that issue too. So if we revert this back to RU4, which now that basically takes away those conditions of those easements and those drainages, and we're back to just raw dirt. So in the future, if someone wanted to redevelop that property, they would have to come back in again, ask it to be rezoned again to either light industrial or general business, and that would still require the right-of-way for a sufficient road to handle that. So I don't know what we're doing here. What benefit are we going to get by going, if the port of entry is going to have significant business and industry in and around it, what are we doing putting it back to RU4? That's what I'm having a hard time grasping.
Yeah, and the response, if I can,
Sure.
the response to that is that the dedications, the largest hunk of what's being taken is a requested drainage easement, and that's going to be based on the contemplated use of the property, and we don't. And with the ordinance as passed, it's clear that our contemplated use of the property is out, because this drainage easement is going to be so large that we can't feasibly develop the property in that fashion. So what we need to do is we need to take a step back and look at a different type of development, possibly, and based on what kind of development we conceive, that drainage easement won't necessarily need to be that large. And so really the dedication, again, does depend on the contemplated use of the property. Well, the contemplated use of the property has been adversely affected here, so we need to basically regroup and design a use that meets the needs of everybody, but at the same time doesn't necessarily grab as much of the property as the ordinance does right now.
So why can't you do that now? Why do you got to go back to RU4? Why can't you come up with a different use of the property and then just come back to us with the rezone to accommodate that new use at the time? Why do we have to go back to RU4?
The problem is the dedication. Where the ordinance conditions the rezoning from RU4 on the dedication of that very, very large drainage easement. And if the drainage easement stays in place, well, it isn't in place yet. But if the drainage easement was to be put in effect, that may affect adversely our ability to develop the property for other kinds of plans where that large of a drainage easement may not necessarily be needed.
Gotcha. So Jackie's not here. I wish. So let me go back to Mr. Taylor or Christine. The use was, I guess, going to be like warehousing type.
A truck stop?
Well, whatever it was going to be. There was something that was going to prevent water from soaking into the ground. So somebody determined because of asphalt or because of roofs, steel building roofs, that a certain amount of water runoff was going to require a drainage easement. So the stipulation was that if you want this rezoned to light industrial, you have to allow an easement or a right-of-way for the road and an easement for the drainage area in order to build your project, your potential project. If the guys doing this now change their mind and say, okay, well, maybe that's not a good use because we're going to need this huge drainage easement, what stops them from coming back with a different intended use and then having engineering look at that and see what the drainage requirements are and then just making a change to that drainage easement and then doing the change then? Why can't we do that?
Well, just to be clear, the easements are based on plans of ADOT, and they're to serve the road, not the specific development.
So what happens? Let me just be blunt. What if we don't approve this and we say no? What is the result of that? Because I'm leaning towards no right now, so I'm trying to figure out what's the impact of that to the county. Are we opening ourselves up for litigation? Are we unfortunately hampering this business from developing the property the way they see fit? Are they able to modify their plans to develop the property and then come back to us and change it again? Are we going to make them pay more money to do that? I mean, that's what I'm trying to get a handle on.
Maybe, can you tell us what this means as far as litigation?
This is definitely a topic of legal advice we may want to discuss in an executive session because there is an open notice of claim on this issue.
Well, there is an open notice of claim on this issue.
Do we go in executive session now to discuss?
It is possible to go into executive session during the meeting.
Are you prepared?
My colleague, Mr. Whitehead, is the one who's working on this project, so I wish he were here today.
I'm on.
Mr. Whitehead is present.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the issue is, yes, the county has some outside needs due to the port to have rights of way along this land. And because the landowner came and requested a change in the zoning, we took the opportunity to partly put a condition of those rights of way on, and those dedications on that approval. And we therefore approved it with conditions of them dedicating it and so on. the landowners have now indicated that they do not intend to meet those conditions. Our approval is being conditioned on their follow-through when they then therefore tell us that they do not intend to comply with the conditions. Then in effect, the zoning is not approved. It is not in effect. And we probably cannot hold up their ability to retract, which is their right, just because it also affects our ability to get something else that we wanted to be done, because they can just continue. They have the right to not comply with the conditions, and so then this stays in limbo. There has been a notice of claim that would just result in long-term litigation. The better option, though, for the county, of course, is to approve this retraction and then proceed forward on our desire for rights of way through other proceedings, such as condemnation and negotiation and so on. But that's really the right way to do it, to avoid a litigation. I feel that if we went to court on this, the court will likely say the same thing. Well, this was a condition of this conversion. They clearly are not going to comply with the condition, therefore the conversion isn't happening, so you need to go undo everything and put it back to status quo. Okay. We don't want to go through several months to get to that point, which is where we could be today, and then immediately tomorrow start either condemnation proceedings or negotiations, etc.
It seems, based on what Mr. Whitehead said,
Yeah, I get what he,
that the way to go is to revert it back, and then we'll hear more from Mr. Whitehead and our legal advice about further negotiations.
Okay.
Whatever.
So Christine, you said that ADOT required the drainage?
This is part of the engineering for the new road to serve the Port of Entry.
All right, well then, I mean, any future use or change or actually building out of that area is still going to require the right-of-way and the drainage easement, either way.
I think that's why we have to go back.
All right, I guess I get it. I get where I'm getting advice.
Talk more about it later.
Yeah, we could do this later. So with that, I forgot where I was. Did I close the public hearing?
You need to first close the public
I
hearing.
haven't closed the public hearing. Okay, so let's do that. Let's close the public hearing. All right, now we'll go back to the agenda item. Let me scroll back here. I'm looking at all the nice pictures.
Yeah.
So we're back to agenda item number 9. Any discussion before we vote?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right, so the motion before the board is to adopt a zoning ordinance 2604 to repeal zoning ordinance 2514 and revert the zoning of the tax parcels listed back from light industrial to RU4 rural. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, so it is changed back to RU4, and we will continue discussions on this. As the port of entry has become quite the... Yes. I'm telling you. All right. So let's go to the action items now. Can I get a motion?
Sure. I would like to thank Mr. Taylor and Ms. McLaughlin. Ms. McLaughlin.
We're going to be, I hope their brains are getting plenty of ginkgo biloba or whatever that is, because we're going to be exercising the living daylights out of them in the next couple months. So anyways.
So rest up.
Excuse me.
No, you're doing good. All right, so let's go back to the action items. Can I get a motion to move agenda item number 10, please?
I move to approve the use of $21,350 of general fund contingency for medical director oversight and support contract with Petra Med LLC for Cochise County Health and Social Services.
Second.
All right, let's go to Ms. Gilman for an explanation on this. Because we had the other question from Mr. Crosby previously related.
Sure.
So
So thank you, Mr. Chair, supervisors. This is the other half of the PetraMed contract, which is for medical director oversight of the Health and Social Services Department. This includes the clinical services that the health department provides, as well as a variety of other services that require medical director oversight. The health department has pulled money from other lines within their budget to be able to meet the bulk of the cost of the contract, but they will that additional $21,050 for the remainder of the fiscal year.
What was the bulk that you referred to? Roughly.
One moment, I have that number. $96,000 is the total portion for health and social services. So they found the difference between 96 and 21.
60 grand. Well. All right. So to be clear, so everybody in the public knows, the first part was to cover the part of the contract that dealt with the jail and the medical oversight of the jail. This part is to cover the health department piece of it. So for like immunizations and
Vaccinations,
Yeah.
outbreaks,
Right.
the screw worm,
right,
everything.
right. So that's what this is. So it was two separate parts. So it was the contract had the jail part and then the health department part. So this is for the health department. Just so we have the folks up there know where the money's going. Any other discussion on this?
No, sir.
All right. So with that, the motion before the board is to approve $21,350 of general fund contingency for the medical director oversight and support contract with PetraMed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You say aye?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. 3-0. We said it at the same time, so
Yes.
I stepped on you. All right. So next, can I get a motion to move agenda item number 11, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the sales of the November 3, 2025 through November 14th, 2025 tax deed land auction held online through public surplus of parcels listed in Exhibits A and B, and authorize the clerk of the board to post the remaining unsold properties for sale on an over-the-counter basis. See Exhibit C.
All right, Laura, can we get an explanation real quick?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Seconded. Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Laura, can we get an explanation?
Chairman Antonori, members of the board, this item is to request the approval of the sales from the November 3rd through the November 14th, 2025 on-lien tax deed land auction conducted through public surplus. 59 of the properties of the 59 properties offered, 54 were successfully sold, generating a total proceeds of $209,923.50. The sale nearly doubled the amount of parcels offered in prior years. All sold parcels are listed on Exhibit A, shown on the screen, which all funds were collected through public surplus and will be apportioned by the Treasurer's Office in accordance with state statute. And the Treasurer has been provided with the parcel list to update the tax roll accordingly. During the sale, staff also offered multiple contiguous parcels as a single unit, which was done to evaluate bidder response. Staff believes this approach was successful and intends to continue this practice in future tax deed sales. Of the remaining properties, one parcel was previously approved under prior consent agenda item for deeding to the Public Works Department for transportation purposes. The remaining unsold parcels identified in Exhibit C, pending board approval today, will be posted for over-the-counter purchase along with updated interactive map anticipated February of 2026. Traditionally, the tax deed land auction is held once per year. However, based on the success of this sale, staff would like to conduct multiple sales in 2026 in order to return additional properties to the tax roll, with the next sale potentially occurring as early as March.
Excellent.
And as many parcels as previous year. Mr. Chair.
That's good, dude. Excellent, excellent. And they're back on the tax rolls now. So hopefully they'll pay their taxes and we won't have to go through this this process again. So excellent. Thanks, Laura. Very, very good. Very good to hear this. Any other discussion or any questions? Hearing none, the motion before the board is to approve the sales of the November 3rd, 2025 through November 14th tax deed land auction. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Sales are approved. All right, next, can I get a motion to approve agenda item number 13, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the executed request for grant application RFGA 2025-013 for the Health Start Home Visiting Program between the Arizona Department of Health Services, ADHS, and Cochise County Health and Social Services in the amount of $353,000 effective October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026.
And did we misspeak and say that was agenda item 13 when it's really?
Oh, did I say 13?
Okay. Then I second the motion for item number 12.
All right, thank you, Mr. Crosby. I don't know what my issue is. All right, so let's go to Ms. Hagel for an explanation here.
Good morning, Chairman Antonori and Supervisors Gomez and Crosby. I'm here today to request approval of the Health Start contract between Cochise County Health Department and Arizona Department of Health Services. This is the start of the 5-year renewal. Cochise County has had this grant for over 35 years. If approved, we will continue to provide home visiting services to families throughout Cochise County. We serve pregnant and postpartum women and children, families with children up to the age of 2 years. So I request your approval today.
Any questions?
I just want, do you have anything that visits the elderly? Is there any grants or do you guys do that or is? No?
The health department does not. No.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, no further discussion? All right, the motion before the board is to approve and execute request for a grant application 2025-013 in the amount of $353,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And the motion carries 3-0. All right, agenda item 13 is state and federal legislation right now. Are you going up next week?
Yes.
All right, so I and Ms. Gomez will be in Phoenix next week for opening day of the legislature, so we will have our state legislation updates starting to roll in following next week. Hopefully we'll see how things go for that legislative session. I don't have anything on the federal side. Does anybody have anything that you want to add? I don't know if I should bring up I should not. Is that my recommendation? Okay, I won't bring that up then. I will.
I can't stand this open meetings law.
I know.
It's like ridiculous.
All right. So with that, I will go to Ms. Gilman and see if she has something to report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to recognize Jackie Watkins. Her last day with the county will be Friday, January 9th. That's this Friday. She did give us her resignation just before the Christmas holidays, so it wasn't a great Christmas present for me, but we're very happy for her. She is going, I understand, to another opportunity elsewhere in the county, so we will continue to see her face just in another form.
She's
for another entity.
Going to a municipality to do work for them.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And I'll want to point out that our PIO put out a newsletter just last night, a newsletter on the year in review with highlights of all the work conducted at Cochise County over 2025. And much of that, of course, is with the Board of Supervisors, as well as all our departments. And there's always something that you miss in a highlight reel, but it's still very impressive, the amount of work done in this county on behalf of our citizens. So I want to thank everyone for that.
Yes, indeed. All right. So with that, anything, Mr. Crosby from District 4?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I would just remind my colleagues that we heard quite a few people talk about election issues. So election issues are not going away.
Yep.
And I urge us to be on top of those election issues. And that is what I believe that we should be reaching out to other counties that are similar to ours to make sure that the voices of the small counties are heard.
And I can tell you, there are some of the concerns that were raised by a few of the folks regarding some of the legal aspects are being addressed in some legislation that's being proposed in the legislature, although I do not have confidence the governor will be 100% on board with them. Maybe someone will be able to convince her, since this is an election year and it would be in her best interest to support election transparency, but we shall see, as they say. But I know that's going forward. And the last thing I want to say is the Secretary of State is not God, and what he says is not law. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that aspect. So with that, any other comment?
No, sir.
All right, anything from District 2?
Well, again, I look at this empty chamber.
It always empties out at the end.
It empties out, and I would really like to see us at the next Board of Supervisor meeting be able to do our reports before with everyone there, so they understand what we're doing in our district, what we're doing outside, because otherwise, it's it's the road that never gets done, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, the people don't hear what we are doing. So I would really like to make sure that we do that for the next Board of Supervisor meeting, that we just reverse it.
The clerk and I were just talking about this morning, so we're on the same page.
We don't have an empty chamber.
Well, we do, but we have staff. Well, we want no staff? Well, I'd like to see all those people who like to complain have to actually hear us talk about what we do for them, and then they can complain. So, and as far as District 2, the port and elections is really an important issue, and this is 26, right? So we definitely need to explain to people that what we look for in transparency does not mean we're doing something illegal. And, everyone's got to come together, and all those people that feel that we are against election integrity really need to listen a little bit further. So that's all I have to say.
Secretary of State has lost a bunch of lawsuits so far.
Yeah, and so is the AG. And I want to, they keep quoting the AG and they keep quoting the Secretary of State, and our legal record against them is pretty good this year, thanks to our great lawyers that are doing a good job for us. So
it's like Ken Bennett's saying, and it's nonpartisan. There's Democrats and Republicans on that committee. It's not a Republican thing.
I know.
And they need to understand. They need to read and just open their eyes instead of following the same narrow agenda or talk. That's all I have to say.
Perhaps our legal team would date us on that Ken Bennett plan.
We'll have an executive session. We'll talk all about it. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So in District 3, tonight at 6 o'clock in Benson, they're going to have a candidate forum for their special election. I will swing by on the to see what's going on there. And then the Attorney General's coming down to talk to my people Thursday. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I will probably have more to say, and you will probably see it in the Cool FM Facebook page, probably in the Sierra Vista Herald the following day. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So with that, I don't have anything else. Any last minute alibis, discussions? All right, let's call it a day. So we are adjourned.